The Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962 was a pivotal moment in the Cold War, characterized by a tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union. This critical event had its roots in the aftermath of the Cuban Revolution, which brought Fidel Castro to power in Cuba. As the U.S. sought to counter Castro's regime, Cuba forged a strategic alliance with the Soviet Union, setting the stage for a geopolitical showdown. The origins of the crisis can be traced back to the Cuban Revolution of 1959, when Fidel Castro overthrew the U.S.-backed government, leading to heightened tensions between the two nations. The U.S. attempted various methods to remove Castro, including the ill-fated Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961, which only intensified Cuba's alignment with the Soviet Union. This growing alliance raised concerns in Washington about the possibility of Soviet military installations in Cuba. The discovery of Soviet missile bases in Cuba in October 1962 marked a critical turning point. U.S. reconnaissance photos revealed the presence of medium-range ballistic missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads. President John F. Kennedy, upon learning of this development, faced a grave challenge that brought the world to the brink of nuclear conflict. In response to the missile threat, Kennedy initiated a naval blockade of Cuba, demanding the removal of the missiles and declaring that any attack launched from Cuba would be viewed as an attack by the Soviet Union. The world anxiously watched as the two superpowers engaged in a high-stakes game of brinkmanship. The diplomatic channels between the U.S. and the Soviet Union became a crucial arena for resolving the crisis. Behind-the-scenes negotiations took place, including the exchange of letters between Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. The tense diplomatic efforts aimed to find a peaceful resolution and avert the impending catastrophe. Publicly, both nations maintained a stern posture, but privately, there were concessions. Khrushchev agreed to dismantle the missile bases in Cuba in exchange for a U.S. pledge not to invade the island. The crisis de-escalated as the superpowers stepped back from the brink of nuclear war. The Cuban Missile Crisis had profound implications for Cold War dynamics. The United States and the Soviet Union realized the need for improved communication to prevent such perilous situations. This realization led to the establishment of the Hotline, a direct communication link between the White House and the Kremlin. The crisis also left a lasting impact on U.S. Cuba relations. The U.S. commitment not to invade Cuba remained in effect, and it set the stage for decades of a complex relationship between the two nations. In conclusion, the Cuban Missile Crisis remains a landmark event in modern history. The tense confrontation and the subsequent diplomatic resolutions reshaped the dynamics of the Cold War and influenced international relations for years to come. The crisis serves as a stark reminder of the perils of nuclear brinkmanship and the imperative of diplomatic solutions in times of global crises.